Nick and Mike's top 100 games. But does anyone care what they have to say? Let's. I know I don't. Cause they may dab, they might scream, they may say some things that are plain wrong. Dab on it, dab on it. But they are dumb dumb bing bongs. My teacher's better.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and it's time for another segment of our top 100 games of all time.
Wow.
Are you hydrated? You freaking better be!
Here's the thing. I don't know if I'm hydrated, but
Drink it! Drink it now! Perfect. The Coldest Water paid us $5 to have that sketch. Do you feel like it was worth it?
Yep. Nope.
So we've been going through our top 100 games of all time. We have had many segments. You can see those on our channel and stuff. We are here to talk about 60 to 51.
Real quick, Mike.
Huh?
How do you think we're doing?
I think we're doing fine, considering we have so far to go. Now, what Nick is alluding to is also, while we're doing this top 10 of a top 100 right now, we are also playing every game we own. It's all happening beneath the table right now. It's all footsie down here. We're rolling dice and stuff. We are in the middle of playing 200 plus games in 1 week.
That's what we're trying. As
Every game
this comes out on YouTube, yeah.
By the time this comes out, we're in the middle of it right now. So if you are interested, check out our social media. Just search The Brothers Murph on Instagram and Twitter to see how it's going. And then check us out at twitch.tv/TheBrothersMurph every night from 6 to 8 during this to see where the hell we are and if we are still awake and alive and okay.
I feel like we're crushing it already.
I think we're in like F already, dude. Like 4 hours in, we're in F. Actually, this is coming out before we even wake up. We haven't even started. We are so behind, it's crazy.
We are about 2 Danishes deep, getting
Dang.
ready, trying to carbo load for it. But yeah, so that video about that will be coming out next Wednesday. But just check out the live streams if you're watching this right now.
And watch the video, see what it's like playing your entire collection in 1 week. It's probably very tiring.
Woo! But now this one, Mikey, we're talking about, we are in the 60s.
We're in
50s.
the 50s.
So we're starting with 60s,
60s.
going into 50s, yeah.
We're going in, so we're in the end of the first half here. So let's go ahead and start with number 60. I think that's appropriate.
Let's do it.
60. Whole new world of possibilities.
So my number 60 is my favorite version of this game that has many versions. It's Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries, which is a 2 and 3 player specific version of Ticket to Ride, which takes place in the Scandinavian countries, which is where we people come from, the Scandinavian heritage. So it's fitting for us. It has a nice Christmassy vibe to it. It's all wintry, and there's like a Santa Claus figure.
Yeah, I love the look of it.
It's a great look and stuff. So Ticket to Ride is a fantastic gateway game where you are trying to get cards of a certain color to be able to play different routes out, and you're playing your trains and stuff. So sometimes you need to have 4 cards of red. If you have 4 cards of red, you can turn in those 4 reds and put on trains on that 4 red length route. You're trying to build connections between different cities. And that's all the game is. You can either draw some cards, play some route, or you can get some destination tickets, which give you more links between cities that you hope to complete to get bonus points.
Yeah.
And every time you complete a route, you get points. It's fantastic. And we just love the fact that it's a 2 to 3 player specific
map,
which fits our player count average more. And we love the Christmassy vibe. So Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries is my favorite of the Ticket to Rides.
That's fair. It's also my favorite of the Ticket
Number
Rides.
60.
My number 60 is Fox in the Forest Duet specifically. I separated these two. Fox in the Forest didn't make my list. But they're very similar games ultimately. But I like Fox in the Forest Duet a little bit more, which is the co-op version. Fox in the Forest is a 2-player trick-taking game.
Yep.
In the competitive version, you're trying to win tricks, but not too many tricks because that's bad for you.
Right balance.
In the co-op version, you're playing tricks, and basically you have this like little board which has this like little tracker on it, and you're pushing this tracker back and forth depending on who wins which trick. You're trying to collect gems because theme. So basically, some of the cards that you play have paw prints on them. And then whoever wins the trick, you count up the paw prints between the 2 cards played, and it gets pushed or pulled. Is it push or pull?
You pull it toward
you. Pull it towards you in that many paw prints. So if I play 3, Mike plays a card with none, it will get pulled towards me 3, and we're trying
it's based off who wins the trick specifically.
Yes. And so then you're basically trying to push and pull this thing back and forth to try and collect all these gems.
Yep.
But it's tough because you have to really get into each other's minds.
You can't obviously communicate. I have 2
I'm
paw
gonna
print
play
cards.
this now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're trying to communicate and trying to like work out in your mind of being like, okay, I played the 3 of this. I need you to play this if you have it. And they're, oh, I see what you're trying to do. I see. And that kind of really fun way that kind of like just subliminal communication that happens in trick-taking games. But in co-op, it's so much more fun because then it's purposeful. And you're purposely trying to be like, I'm saying this, please read this.
Do you understand?
And it's really, really fun. It's also very difficult, and it's great because Fox and Force and Fox and Force Duet fit into one of those boxes.
It's great.
And so we got it both one box. They're great. I like Duet a little bit more, but they're both outstanding. I just like the co-op version a little bit more.
Nice.
So, Fox and
number
Duet.
60 for both of us, eh?
Boom, yeah.
Let's get into 59.
Cole's water.
59.
So my number 59, you mentioned before, and you mentioned and made a good point. It has no business being here because it looks like anus.
Yeah.
59 for me is Carpe Diem, and
like
I'm ranking it 59, assuming that when they redo it, they actually do it well.
Here's the thing though, will they even do it well, or they just do it? Will
Castles
they
of
do it?
Burgundy didn't become like the greatest masterpiece of a board game of all time when they redid that.
Here's my thing. I think they're
don't
gonna
know.
make it look like Castles of Burgundy, which in my opinion looks bad. But compared to Carpe Diem, they're gonna be like, this looks great.
That could very well happen.
That's my guess.
Carpe Diem is unfortunate looking, to say the least, but it has some really great mechanics. It's a Stefan Feld game where you're going to be moving around to collect these tiles to put into your little province, I guess. And you're hoping to match and make buildings and stuff that will give you various bonuses and stuff like that. And you're all trying to do that to match these scoring cards. You're hoping to make use of these scoring cards throughout the game. And it's a game that is so fun mechanically and interesting, but looks so horrible that it's held itself back, really. But it's a really fun game. I really like it because it's kind of got some Carcassonne vibes where as you build out your little province, you have to make it make sense. You can't have a building dead end in the grass.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You're building pawns and stuff. And you're covering up scrolls. It's all these things that are like thematic, but they're just ways to get points.
They're not.
But it's a really good game despite all those shortcomings, which they are significant. So 59 for me is Carpe Diem.
You should be making Subway sandwiches.
I should.
Because they're still long.
Twisty subs, yeah.
You have meatballs, roast beef.
Why not?
Why not? Make it about sandwiches.
Play fresh.
Make it about deli meats.
Do it.
Carpe Deli.
You're not down, Stefan. You're not down.
You ain't got the stones.
That's 59 for me. What do you got?
Oh, 59 for me. Mike mentioned a couple of lists ago or something like that is Tiny Towns. Tiny Towns is a great game where you have a little tiny town, little grid, and basically you're flipping over cards or you're calling out stuff of different resources like wheat, wood, stone, brick, and glass. And you basically are putting those, trying to make a configuration of those resources to then put buildings in. So if I have like glass, a wheat, and a wood, I can then pick all those up and put a cottage there because that's what you need to make a cottage. And so you have a little grid and you're basically putting stuff in there, but as you put buildings in there, you start losing those spaces because now those spaces where you used to be able to put resources, you have to put a permanent building. But the buildings is how you score, and there's a bunch of different buildings in the game. Some buildings are like, you want all these buildings in a line. For every one you get in a line, you get more and more points. These ones want to be next to these ones. These ones want to be on their own. These ones want to be in a diagonal. All these different kinds of things. And basically, you're trying to put the resources in there to build buildings in a way that's going to make it advantageous to score. But the thing is like all roll and writes, a lot of these kind of games, you don't know what resources you're going to get. So the thing is, you're like, I really need stone. And then Mike goes, we're doing wheat because everyone gets to choose every turn. A different person gets to choose the resource. You're like, that's not what I needed. Okay, cool. How do I make this work? And it's very, very fun, very hard. We just got a couple expansions for it, as we mentioned before. And I'm really excited to try them because I really like Tiny Towns. And it's great. We play it with our chat on Twitch a lot because an infinite amount of people can play it. It's really, really fun. I like Tiny Towns a lot.
So check it out.
Yeah.
Bam. Nicely done, sir. So that's number 59 for the both of us. Let's go ahead and get into 58.
Let's do it. 50.
My 58 has been mentioned by you before. We're entering into more of that territory of crossover, but again, it's more about where things appear. So
I'm honestly even still astonished at how little we had in the previous lists.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be a lot of,
But these are things that you mentioned a while ago and stuff. So this is a sneakily thematic worker placement game called Stone Age, where you are kind of taking control of your tribe and trying to keep everybody fed. You're trying to build up agriculture. You're trying to build buildings, which are going to be based off of the materials that you manage to collect. Certain buildings need certain types of materials. And then you can gain these cards, which will give you access to just one-off bonuses and then maybe some set collection. They might give you a lot of points for your agriculture and stuff. So there's a whole lot of points that are being got from these cards and sort of the sets you might collect from there. And it's a game that we always talk about is sneakily thematic. We talked about in the last thing because you have to allocate workers on different worker placement spots. But you can put multiple workers on the collect stones action and stuff. And the more workers you have, the more dice you get to roll, which give you a better chance of gaining a lot of stone.
Some stuff,
but stone is hard to find. It's easier to get berries from a tree than it is to get gold. So you have to kind of put more workers to these things that are harder to achieve. And then you have tools and stuff which might augment those dice rolls. So there's just a lot of like really fun, satisfying elements to this game. I guess that's the word that I would use for it. Just make me really enjoy it. So I've always really enjoyed Stone Age. I feel like it's a good one to teach because there is a level of intuition there about like people can understand that it would be harder to do this than it would be to do that. Keeping your people fed is hard. So if you develop agriculture, you don't have to have people out there hunting as much because you have a steady food source coming now. So there's a lot of fun things like that. I really like it. Stone Age is my 58.
It's great. 58. My number 58 is a game all about painting, and that is Kanagawa.
Nice.
So Kanagawa is this really great game by Bruno Catala where you are trying to make a print, kind of a traditional Japanese print. And essentially you are learning different painting techniques, like learn how to paint seascapes and mountainscapes and trees and all these different kind of things. And essentially you're drafting these cards that you can turn either into skills, which will allow you to learn how to paint more stuff or give you more paintbrushes or more workers, all this different kind of stuff. Or you can draft them and turn them into a print. And put them into your print. And it's got this really cool card drafting mechanism where the cards are out in columns, and basically you put out cards based off how many players are out, and then you go around and say, do you want one of these columns of card? Right now there's only one column though, there's no more. And so it's like, and if you can take it, you take that whole column, in this case it's one card, and then if anyone else passes, you go on and you add a second card, and then you can add even a third card, and then after that, everyone has to take a column of cards. So it's one of those things, if you come across a card you really, really want, but there's only one out there, you're like, ugh, do I take this now? Because I really need this card, but you're only getting one card, which is not great. And so you want to wait, but at the same time, if you're not going first, someone else can then take that column of cards. And you're trying to make kind of like set collection kind of thing and trying to get these diplomas. And it's a really, really fun take on like card drafting that doesn't really feel like any other game. It feels very, very unique.
It is interesting, yeah.
And it's great and it's gorgeous. It's made by Yellow, so their games always look really, really pretty. It's just very fun. I like Kanagawa a lot. It's just great. Yeah.
It's fantastic. So that's 58 for 58? Both of us. Let's go ahead and get into 57.
Boom.
57.
So shouts out to Jordan Plays Blue for teaching us this one. It's Power Grid time.
Okay.
Time for some Power Grid, the classic Power Grid. This is a game where you are...
Wow.
You okay? You know that water conducts electricity, right? You better be careful.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm talking about Power Grid. I'm talking about an electrical game right now.
Dude, I'm in the Arctic Circle right now, dude.
Dude, you're not even here right now.
There's not even Power Grid. It's so cool.
It might be the peyote that was put in there, but it could also just be the coldest water factor. Who knows? Who knows? Just chewing up some cactus in there. So Power Grid is a game where you are going to be auctioning, bidding for power plants to then be able to make use of and power cities. Ultimately, you want to power the most cities to win. So in this game, you're going to be getting those power plants that then will require certain types of fuel. They'll require coal, oil, trash, uranium, or they go nuclear. Or even there's some green technologies that don't require any materials because they're just gathered from the earth, solar and wind technology and stuff like that. So in this game, you are going to be getting spending your money to get those power plants, and they're going to be spending money to get resources to power those power plants, again, with those resources I just mentioned. So this is a game where it's all about kind of figuring out how to manage your money to get the right things, to get the right materials, where early in the game, coal and oil is a lot cheaper, but as the game goes on, the price of trash and uranium might come down as more of it is available. And then you might see a flip happen as more and more people have, if a bunch of people have coal factories, Now there's a scarcity of that resource, so now it's more expensive. So it is a really cool, accurate kind of way that would happen in the real world.
Yeah.
Scarcity of resource will cause prices to rise. And then you need to spend your money to build out kind of plants in different cities. Using connections and stuff and paying all of those costs, which is essentially you spending the money to lay power lines everywhere. And then you can run your factories and turn in resources to power a certain amount of houses, which will then give you money to go into the next round. And once people have built up their infrastructure, enough houses have been built, the game will end. And the player on that last round who can actually power the most cities will win. Even if I've built up more, if Nick can power more than I can because his plants are better than mine, he will win. So it's this really interesting balancing act of how much do I expand on the map versus have better power plants versus this and this, getting the right resources, when to save, when to spend, and stuff like that. It's a great game. Power Grid.
Power Grid's great, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not on my list, but I like Power Grid a lot. Yeah, it's quite good. Okay, my number 57 is a game that is our evangelism, baby. That's what it is. It's Histrio.
Bam.
Histrio is 57. Histrio is a great game, also a pretty Cthulhu game. And this is a game that we are mega evangelists for. We just like as much as we are evangelists for the coldest water model because they've paid us $5 to say so.
It's all it costs to evangelize
we
this.
are bigger, maybe not bigger than coldest water, but we are big evangelists for Histrio. It's a really great game. Again, kind of like a lot of Bombix games. Bombix is a publisher. Their games are very, very overproduced, which I like a lot. Yeah. But a lot of times it gets confusing because you look at there's all this stuff and it feels like it's going to be a bigger game than it actually is. The game is very light.
Yeah.
It's very, very light, but I love it. It's a game where you essentially are an acting troupe and you're gathering around actors and acrobats and stuff like that.
Gather around actors.
To put on a show for the king. And the king is either going to want a comedy or a tragedy. And you can affect the king's mood and affect what kind of play he's going to want, which is very, very cool. And basically you're gathering stuff. And so at the end of the round, if the king wants a tragedy, you want to make sure you have more tragedian players rather than comedic players. And if you do, then you're putting on a tragedy. You will please the king and get more money. And if you have the best tragedy, you will get more money. Essentially, and you have all these acrobats you can get, which are essentially like kind of one-off cards that you can play.
Give you powers you can do each season, yeah.
Give you powers, but it's got a really great simultaneous selection because there's 8 different cities up there and everyone has 8 city cards and you're going to choose a city to go to at the same time and then you flip them over. If 2 people go to the same city, all the cards that are there get discarded and then it starts messing with the king's mood. But if you're the only person to go there, you get to take those cards, which again are going to be those comedic or tragedians, whatever. Tragedians players and stuff like that, and that's how you do it. And that's all it is. And then you can also get some. If you go to the same place as someone else, you get some basically secret objective cards, which means you may not want to have the same play as the king. Basically, you have other stuff you can score, so it's not the end of the world if you go there. But it's really, really fun. But it ultimately is light. Simultaneous selection. You're gathering some cards, trying to affect the king's mood. That's it. Really, really fun with just some of the best art in the whole game. Jeremy Fleury, who made the art, which is so, so good.
So vibrant.
It's just gorgeous. But it's a really great game that we're big evangelists for. A lot of times you can find it on clearance somewhere. Pick it up if you like those kinds of games. Really, really great. Histrio, 57.
Bam. Let's get into 56.
56.
So my number 56, I want to say surprised by, but maybe I'm not. It's Dinosaur Island.
I'm not surprised by that.
It's been slipping down a bit.
I'm astonished it's this high on your list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, go figure. It's an awesome game though. This is again no knocks. Anything from here, it's just like these are great games. Dinosaur Island is a big worker placement. I mean, big. It's big and sprawling. There's just stuff everywhere. It's a big worker placement game where you are running your own Jurassic Park, essentially, without getting sued by anybody. You are trying to have the most exciting dinosaurs in your park to get the most visitors, which means money coming into your park to get the best features. And then you're going to turn that into the money to get better attractions in your park or more dinosaurs. But with that, you have to kind of manage your threat level because more dinosaurs means it's more dangerous. You need to have more security in place so they don't break out and eat everybody like in every movie about any sort of park like that ever. So it's just a great game that is just like really steeped in what it's based off of. It feels very Jurassic Parky. It's fun. It's colorful and bright. Kwanchai Mori did great art for it, and it's just like neon colored and
It's
crazy,
so insane.
which I really appreciate.
Yeah, me too.
And it's super fun. The main thing that for me I think has made it kind of slip a bit is it's just gigantic.
It's gigantic.
It's big. It's long. It's hard to explain. So it means it doesn't make it easy to play. And so that has not soured it, but it's made it tough because I'm not going to suggest that to a new group really, because it's like, man, I got to teach that, and it's a lot of phases, and it is broken up into phases every round, so you can kind of go phase to phase to phase to phase, but they all are kind of interlocked and working. So it's a beefy one. With that said, I'm very excited for Dinosaur World, and I am
very curious. Yeah,
really want to try it when it comes out. I think probably next year.
I am curious. So,
yeah. So Dinosaur Island's my 56.
All right, my 56 was mentioned by Mike a little while ago. Praise be to Phil Walker Harding, because this is Cacao. Cacao is a great Phil Walker Harding game. Praise be to Phil Walker Harding and the Curtis Water. Cacao. This is a game where you are collecting cacao. And it's a tile laying game where there are these jungle tiles which will have different stuff on it, like mines, markets, cacao plantations, temples, rivers, water, whatever kind of stuff. And then you have your own tiles which will have 4 workers on it, and the 4 workers will be broken up between the 4 sides. So sometimes you'll have 1 worker on each side. Sometimes you'll have 3 and then 1. Sometimes you'll have 2 and 2 or 2, 1 and 1. All sorts of different kind of stuff. And essentially, on your turn, you're going to place one of your tiles next to a jungle tile, and then however many workers you have that touches that jungle tile, you get to do what's on the jungle tile that many times, which is super cool. And then if you basically, you're also throughout the game going to be adding more jungle tiles. And the cool thing is you can put this thing out there, and my thing's just sitting out here on the end. But then later, if a jungle tile gets added here and I have a worker right here, I then get to activate that worker. So it's cool because your tiles can activate multiple times throughout the game at totally different times. Really, really fun.
Like, I'm going to deal with that later.
But yeah, as we talk about Phil Walker Harding, he's one of our favorite designers. It's just in his wheelhouse. Family game, easy to learn, super fun, super smooth. It's just great. Phil Walker Harding is amazing, and I like Cacao a lot.
It's really fantastic.
Yeah. Cacao is it. That's 56.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into 55.
55!
Now, 55 is related very much to 56, but it's for 2 players. It's Dinosaur Island instead of Dinosaur Island.
Wow, it happened, huh?
Dinosaur.
You didn't do that on purpose, huh?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, just how it worked out. Wow. I was like, oh, that's kind of fitting because I do like Dinosaur better.
That's almost as shocking as getting a hit from this.
Bam. What's that? That'll hit you. That'll numb out your gums.
Oh, dude.
Watch them go numb gum over here. So Dinosaur Island is a 2-player card-driven version. Well, not really. It's a 2-player version of Dinosaur Island. It takes everything that Dinosaur Island is and shrinks it down, focuses it, and turns it into an I split you choose kind of game. So in the game, you are going to be rolling out DNA dice like you would in Dinosaur Island. You're just going to be specialists like in Dinosaur Island, but if I roll out these dice, I'm going to choose where the dice go. I'm going to choose which specialists are available, but then Nick's going to get first pick at which die or which specialist we choose, and we go back and forth to get these different DNA to make dinosaurs and stuff. And those dinosaurs are not going to be on cards instead of tiles out on a big board. And you're going to be trying to make dinosaurs. You're going to be trying to get different attractions in your park, which will allow you to draw more cards every round. They'll give you access to PR bonuses and stuff like that. So it takes a lot of what Dinosaur Island is, but then switches it around where it changes the main mechanism is now a little bit different, but it's very familiar. And I thought that was a really cool way to go about it. Don't just make it a 2-player carbon copy. Give me something a little new and different.
It's a different game.
So it's a worthwhile experience to have because it's its own thing.
It is, really.
Which it very much is. So Dinosaur Island I really enjoy. Too. And it's a lot easier to get played than Dinosaur Island.
Dinosaur Island is like, it's fast.
It's really fast.
It's like 30 minutes, 45 tops?
Yeah, it's very quick. So I'm like, that's great. I can get a Dinosaur Island type experience in like 30 minutes. I'm into that.
I'm into that, yeah.
Please. Yeah, and you can solo it, which is great. So Dinosaur Island is my 55.
This was mentioned, my 55 was mentioned sorry, thank you. Was mentioned last list. I think this is Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Mike mentioned this. A really, really great game. This game, I'm astonished. Not astonished. I'm a little surprised it's this high considering how not very often we get to play. But I think it's because I'm like, but when I get to play it, I love this game. And this is a game, it's like Between Two Cities and Castle of Mad King Ludwig slapped together. Or really what it is, it's Between Two Cities with the Castle of Mad King Ludwig theme put on top of it, really. But it's a game where you're building out 2 castles, one with the player on your left and one with the player on your right. I just did it the opposite way, but whatever. But nonetheless, you're building 2 castles. At the end of the game, whatever castle scores the least, that's the castle you score in the game. And so you have to really try to build both castles with that person. You have to really, really try. At the end of the game, whoever has the best castle wins, essentially. And so it's really, really fun, dynamic, and it's got a great theme on top of it, because I like the Castle Magic Ludwig theme, but I don't really like that game. So this is perfect, because it has a game I like with a theme I like put into one. I really, really like this game. It's wonderful. It's just great. And I like it a lot. Thanks for the support, by the way.
54.
55.
My arm is numb. Now.
54.
Okay.
$54. Oh gosh.
Nick.
Yeah.
Praise be.
Dude, praise be. Wait, let me guess.
Go ahead.
Bear Park?
Yes, Barron Park is my 54.
Praise
folks.
be.
We're making a bear zoo for your friends and family to visit. So this is a polyomino tile laying game where you're going to be building a zoo for different types of bears at Barron Park. And it's really fun because this does kind of what Gingerbread House then did later, where you'll get these polyomino shapes, and when you cover stuff up, if there's icons that you're covering up, that's going to dictate things that you get, which is going to give you more tiles to put into your park.
Oh yeah, that is, that's similar. I didn't realize that.
So what
right.
you cover up, that's what you get.
You're totally right, yeah.
So you're going to get things like different types of bear enclosures, which are sort of a race. If you get the first of the kind of square shape one, you'll get more points than the next person who gets it, the next person. If you cover up cranes, you get these really special enclosures that are very strange but worth a lot of points. You can build green spaces like bathrooms and walkways and stuff like that, which basically fill out your little player boards, because you're going to ultimately build 4 player boards next to each other to make out your entire park.
Yeah. And
if you're the first one to cover up all the spaces on one of the player boards, you get to get a bear statue, which is again worth points. So those little green spaces help fill in those little gaps and stuff like that. And then that's really the whole game. It's just like covering up stuff to get more cool tiles, which then you can then place on a future turn, which maybe will cover up something, which will get more tiles to place on a future turn. And you're trying to do that to maximize your points. Get as many points into your park as you can. And then once someone has completed all 4 sections of their park, the game will end after that round. And then you take a look at all the tiles that have points on them. That's your points. And so it's pretty simple in terms of you can just see what your points are. It's all right there.
It's a great gateway game.
It's a great gateway game. It's really satisfying and sweet and fun to play. We've always really enjoyed Barron Park, so it's my number 54.
54, all right. My number 54 is a game that I'm kind of surprised was this low, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I played it, I'm not saying I played it out like completely, like I'm done with it forever, but I played a lot of it, and that is
Orleans.
Orleans, yeah. Orleans is 54.
You have played a lot of it.
I played a lot of it. Me and my roommate really got into this game. We were playing the co-op version.
We literally on it.
We literally had a fold-out table that was in his office that we just left there with Orleans on it for like a month, 2 months or so, and we would play it multiple times a week. And so it's like, not that like I'm done with the game, but it's like I have kind of like, okay, I've played enough Orleans right now, you know. And so I think because of that, where I am right now with it, I've kind of like, okay, I'm cool, you know. And so it's dropped down. It used to be my top 10, but now it's dropped down quite a bit.
Sure.
And I think it'll probably settle around here, I'm guessing, in the end all be all. But I still love it's a bag building game where you're putting followers into these bags and drawing them out, and then depending on what you draw out, you can do different actions. Different actions will call for different followers. You put those followers there, you can then do that action. I like all versions of Orleans. I like the competitive version. We've got almost all the expansions for it. They're all great. But the main one we like to play is Orleans Invasion, which is the co-op version, which is super fun. But honestly, the rest of them are great. Like, I love all of Orleans. I think it's incredible.
The trade and intrigue, the trade half of it specifically is really great if you're doing a competitive game.
And there's a bunch more in the invasion thing. It's also really fun solo. There's like solo versions too.
There's one for 2 players specifically.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
It's really, really great. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's just great. I like Orleans a lot. It's wonderful. It's fallen down a little bit, but it doesn't mean it's not great.
Man.
Yeah.
Nicely picked. That is 54 for us. Let's go ahead and jump into 53.
Oh, I'd say it's about 53.
My number 53, I think will pop back up a bit once we grab an expansion or two for it, now that there's a second one coming. It is Wingspan. Great little simple engine building game where there's 4 actions.
This will pop back up for you, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're birders and stuff, and you're observing birds in their environments by placing out these cards. So you're trying to attract birds by, I guess, placing out the food that they like. And you're trying to then basically spot them and put them into your journal. And it's really cool because it's an engine building game. There's 4 actions. You can play a bird, you can get some food for birds, you can lay some eggs, or you can draw some cards. Those are the 4 actions, that's it. But as you put birds out into your journal in front of you, your player board, you get better versions of those, of 3 of the actions. The birds always kind of stay the same. You get better versions of those actions. You get to lay more eggs, you get to draw more cards, you get to get more food. And then also a lot of the cards will have these brown borders, meaning every time you take this action, the food action, all of my birds in that row with brown actions will then activate, moving to the left, kind of going bop, 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 bop. And so then you can all of a sudden do 4 more things that are all simple. You might be able to lay more eggs, you get to draw extra stuff, get extra resources, a whole mess of different things. And so you're building these really cool combos. And that's where it comes down to. It's just this awesome little engine where it's like, I'm just going to keep doing this action because I get to do all these different things and really try to maximize for these 4 kind of end of round scoring opportunities. The birds themselves are worth points. Eggs are worth points if you are able to tuck cards through many different ways. Those are worth points. If you can cash food on cards, those are worth points. And so you're just trying to build up the best little engine you can with only these 4 actions. I think it's fantastic with a brilliant theme, with beautiful art. Wingspan, my 53.
Love it.
It's just great.
Love it.
Great game.
My 53 is the greatest gateway game ever made, and that's Carcassonne Fight Me.
I will not.
Yeah.
I don't know who could really fight that. At least fight the argument that it's a great gateway game.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It's just straight up.
I love Carcassonne, just any Carcassonne. We've played a couple different versions of it. I like them all. They're great. You're just laying out tiles. The game starts with 1 tile and it grows. This is such a great gateway game to me because it is so unlike any mass market game that non-gamers have played before. If they've played Sorry or Monopolies, that kind of stuff,
different.
This is going to be even stuff like Ticket to Ride, which is widely considered one of the best gateway games, it still has a central board.
Yeah.
This is 100% different.
While still being super accessible.
While being so accessible. I used to teach this. I used to work at a rehab, and I used to play board games. I convinced them to let me start a board game program to play with our clients.
Smart.
And one of the biggest hits was Carcassonne.
Yeah.
And this is what I was playing with people who weren't all there because they were detoxing and coming off of very heavy drugs, and they were always able to pick it up. We always had a great time, and Carcassonne was always one of the biggest hits. And it's not because of the theme, but it's because the mechanics are so good and so accessible that anyone can play it. And I love Carcassonne. I've played it a ton, and I'm just like, I'm always like, I'm down to play Carcassonne right now. Let's do it right now. It's so good. It's an incredible gateway game. Pick it up. Please try if you haven't. It's just wonderful.
It's a classic for a reason, folks. It really is. 53 for both of us. Very well picked, my friend.
Yeah, 53.
Very nice.
52.
Bam. Times a day is how many times you should sip from the coldest water. Ooh. 52 sips a day.
$52.
Speaking of 52, welcome to 52. Welcome to is my 52.
Oh, I was confused.
Yeah, slick, huh? It's a flip and fill game where you are trying to build a neighborhood. You're trying to design your neighborhood, putting addresses on houses, trying to maybe build some pools, work on the landscaping, and build groups of houses using fences and stuff. You want to try to put together groups of houses to kind of match city plans. And then to create groups which are very appealing and appeasing, which will give you points. So it's a great game where you will flip over 3 cards that will each have a number 1 through 15 on them. And you're going to be putting one of those numbers into your neighborhood if you can. The way it works is on the left side of each street, there's 3 streets. Each street is independent of the others. Each street, you need to have lower numbers on the left, higher numbers on the right. So if I go 1, 15, I can't put anything to the right of 15. It's the highest number that's in there. There's actually a way to do that a little bit, but you want to try to build out your things so that you can continue to ascend in numbers and not get yourself locked out. Then each card will come with a possible power where, like I said, you can potentially build a pool if you match it with a house that has a pool designed in the background. You can work on that landscaping. You can build a fence. You can do a few different things. And so it's just this fun, puzzly, roll and write, flip and fill that is a little bit more involved.
It is a little more involved.
Than your standard roll and write might be, but it's really fun for that reason, because there's something to kind of chew on with that game. You can be like, let me think about this. Like, what strategy do I want to go with? I should probably focus on pools. I've kind of done a couple of those already. Let me go that direction. So let me keep these houses available. There's a lot of stuff to think about and ways to work it. And with those numbers, it's tricky because there's fewer 1s and 15s than there are 7s, 8s, and 9s.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like, I don't know when the next one's going to come up, so do I just put this in because it's a good number, but the power isn't something I really need right now? There's a lot to think about. Welcome to is just really fun.
It fell off my list completely. Just when we first
we
got
don't play it very often.
We don't.
We played
Well, it's because when we first got it, it was one of the only roll and rides. We had like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So we played it a lot, and it was our favorite back then. But now it's like we have a lot of roll and rides, and so it's like it's one of those things where it's like I have other ones I like more. I think it probably should be on my list if we played it more, but we just haven't played it in a while, so I think it's just not in my head a lot. But nonetheless, I really like Welcome to as well.
Nice. What do you got for 52?
For 52, I have a great game that we're kind of also evangelists for, along with Historia, which is in this list, and that is Tales of Glory.
Yeah.
Tales of Glory is a great game by Ankama, and it's a tile-laying game that just works, just goes down smooth. Also simultaneous selection, which apparently is the evangelism thing for us. But nonetheless, you have these 8 tiles out there, or less if you're playing a lesser player count game. And basically you have cards and you're choosing which tile you want, you reveal. And then if you tie with someone, you both chose like tile 5, whoever's first in the turn order will get it. And then you get to pick after everyone else has picked theirs. And basically you have these tiles which are locations, monsters, like treasure, companions, and you're basically placing them next to other tiles in your tableau there. And you want to place stuff next to stuff because they're going to score in different ways. You need to have certain like magic to buy certain tiles. You need to pay for tiles with money. It's just a very simple game. It doesn't really do anything new, but just does everything really, really well. And it came and just like went completely under the radar. It's got a generic fantasy theme. It's got a very generic name, Tales of Glory. That could be so many games.
A buddy of ours always mentioned why it's tiles. Why don't you call it Tiles of Glory?
Yeah, like why not? But it's like we were taught it by Restoration Games owner Justin Jacobson.
Shout out JJ.
JJ, shout out to Restoration Game for sponsoring the Brothers Murphy. Not this 10, it's sponsored by Coldest Water.
Don't you dare touch these games.
But nonetheless,
this segment.
That, whatever. But he really likes it. He's like, he wanted to play it one time, and I played it with him. I was like, this is great. And we've taught it to a lot of people, and they're always just like, that was really great. Fun. And we're it just goes down smooth. It just works. And
it's easy to get into.
Yeah, I love Tales of Glory. I think it's great. It's kind of one of my favorite games to introduce people to because it just works. It's just great. So Tales of Glory is my number 52.
Nice.
Ooh, moving on to the last one.
Let's do this thing. 51.
Oh my gosh. We're about to be at the end of this
half. End of this half. Let's go. You think we're halfway through our marathon yet?
No.
Okay. 51. So my number 51 is another game in the Race for the Galaxy world. It's called New Frontiers.
Yeah, you really like New Frontiers.
It's really good.
I still haven't played this one either, but you really like it.
It's super solid. So it's a Race for the Galaxy game where kind of similar to Puerto Rico in space, where there are different types of actions. I mentioned this a few segments back about Roll for the Galaxy. There's kind of exploration, settling, developing technologies. You can produce goods on planets, and then you can ship those goods off for money or points.
Yeah.
And so in this one, there's going to be those actions out there, and on a round, you're going to choose one of the actions that has not been selected yet, and then everyone will get to follow that action. But you are going to get a better version of that action first.
Yeah.
So if I choose the
Which is a great mechanic.
Yeah, if I choose like the settle action or the develop action, I get to develop something, but I get to spend $1 less. It's cheaper for me to do than everyone else has to pay face value. Or if I'm going to explore, I'm going to get a planet. Everyone else is going to get to choose a planet to maybe develop, and I will get another planet. If I'm settling, I get to get a colonist or an explorer before doing everything. There's a bunch of perks. And ultimately what you're trying to do is you have a player board that gives you a starting planet that'll have some ability on it that might give you a direction to go. And then you're going to try to develop planets. You're going to try to develop technologies onto the lower part of your player board, which will give you discounts, will give you perks, consume powers, a whole mess of stuff. Planets will give you the ability to produce goods on them in addition to giving you points and giving you different perks and abilities and stuff. And it's all about like creating a little engine for yourself. Based off of, it's usually good if you get something going for like a certain type of good, like a rare good or something, go hard on that and then get you a technology that gives you boosts for every rare good you have. So there's all sorts of ways to kind of build up these combos for yourself to ultimately win. The game can end if you develop a certain amount of planets, if you fill up your technologies, if you run out of victory points to grab mid-game, whole bunch of things like that. And New Frontiers is just really good. It's very similar to all those other games. So if you played a Roll for the Galaxy and you play this, you're going to see a lot of familiar elements. But it goes really quick and snappy, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I really want to play it. I know you like this game. Crook loves this game. Paulo loves this game. So like,
so good.
A lot of people I play games like this game. I just need to try it.
Yeah, really good.
My number 51 just missed the top 50, but praise be. This is Barron Park.
Praise be, Barron Park.
Barron Park just got kicked out of the top 50, but still 51 is nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah. Exactly. Barron Park is great. Everything Mike said, I'll say it again. It's wonderful. Tiles, great. Gateway, wonderful. Bears, praise be. Done.
Bam. That is the end of the first half of this marathon of top 10s coming at you.
Yeah. Think about the marathon. We're in the middle of our week too. Woof. Well, not in the middle. We're in the start of our week. Our trying to play all our games in a week. Let's see. Well. If you want to know, if you're watching this the day it came out, we're going to be streaming the rest of this week.
So please, if you're watching this, check us out on Twitch, check us out on social media, tweet at us, ask us how we're doing. We'll let you know. And then check us out as we stream live, so you can get a little live look into wherever we are in the process, good or bad. You will get to see that.
Indeed.
So come be a part of it.
Yeah, and as we said throughout this top 100, we joke this is sponsored by this, but we're also sponsored by our patrons. We always want to give shouts out to people who support us, because it's really, it warms our heart, and it's just, these people support us too.
The coolest thing is this has a nice little grippy thing in the place where you absolutely would never hold a bottle.
Never hold it, and here's the thing, it's not on the bottom, so you can still
here.
You can still bang it.
Here, yeah, you can still.
Here's the thing, I love to drink water like this.
Well, it's a refined thing.
I'm so good. But thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
Because your grip is in the right place.
Oh yeah.
What? Thank you so much. And again, if you're following along, making your top 100 along here with us, make sure to put your 60 through 51 down in the comments below.
Bam.
And let us know what you thought about our picks for this part of the list.
Are they good or they bad? Who knows?
They're probably great. Probably great. But thank you for being here. I think that's going to be it. Let's get on out of here, Mikey.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this top 10. Mike almost cut our sound. If you want to check out last top 10 through 70 to 61, check out that one right there. And if it's afterwards, the next top 10 is going to be down there, 50 to 41. Crazy. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to subscribe if you want more wonderful Bros Murph content. And you're just lovely. Thank you.
We love y'all.